Hello all, and welcome to Scorcher Toys at Anymoon.com's exploration of the Arcadia simple display stand for their Macross products. Why only Macross products? Because Megazone fans haven't earned a display stand. Why simple? Because they didn't want you to confuse it with the more deluxe display stand like the launch arm they released later. Since it's labeled Macross, you wouldn't find it at any retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, which is where I buy all my Transformers and Robotech stuff and encourage you to do the same. Click the link in the comments below to support this channel and pick up something pretty for yourself. You could get this display stand in one of three ways. It was bundled with Roy and Hikaru VF1S toys, released in November and December 2013 for 16,800 yen, and then sold separately in January 2015 for 2,700 yen. If you bought one of the Valkyrie gift sets, then the display stand comes in a tray under the toy. If you bought the sold separately version, then the stand comes in a plain and compact retail box with all the component parts and baggies. The simple stand really is simple, consisting of a base, an arm, a brace, a connector and lock, and a conversion piece for use with the Yamato-style adapters. Assembly of the simple display stand is suitably simple. We have these little storage bay doors. You want to install them nub up into the base. We have this arm here with pegs on the bottom and a clip on top. We have this arm here with a hook on the bottom. Hook is going to go into the display stand like so. We are going to notch these two arms together by just applying a little bit of pressure, and then we are going to hook in the base, and then we can adjust height by choosing which section we want to go into down below. We then grab our top piece here, which goes into the sprocket at the top here, and just slides right in. This is how we're going to pick what angle we're going to want our vehicle at. So you can see there's teeth in there, and then we have a lock that goes on the other side, and there you go. You are ready to use your display stand. The top of the simple display stand is a peg, but that peg is a little squared off. So if you put a toy on here, you can't just spin it on there. You have to pick the toy back off and reposition it. What that's good for is if you have multiple toys on multiple display stands, they only can go at certain angles, so it's very easy to get all of the toys pointed in the same direction, which makes for a pretty cool display. If you have an Arcadia toy, it's going to come with a big adapter with a bottom that may look something like this. This is the VF0. The adapter is huge, it is not transparent, and it is very ugly. So even though the display stand is transparent and looks pretty decent, you may be saddled with some pretty ugly adapters from Arcadia. Now, the benefit here, I'll put this on, is that once on, super solid connection, and that's the truth for pretty much every Arcadia adapter I have tried so far. So that is a big benefit of this display stand, even if you are saddled with some adapters that are pretty underwhelming in comparison to the better looking display stand. Now, if you have a Yamato VF1 or any Yamato toy that came out before Arcadia, you probably have a connection point that looks like this. This is an Arcadia reissue. They were still using the Yamato style peg. And what you need for that is this little piece here. So this piece comes with the simple display stand, has the slotted approach on either side. You would just take it, slide it in. You can see the gun's gonna be bumping right up against there. And then that slides onto the display stand. Now, again, you're at the mercy of these connectors. Some of them are ugly, some of them work a little better than others, and they're not transparent. And in the VF1 case, it's kind of in a weird spot, and it bumps right up against the gun. But otherwise, still rock solid. So that's one thing you could really bank on here. Some Yamato toys, like the SV51 and the YF21, weren't really intended to go with the launch arm, but instead came with their own display stands, and those have a round attachment piece. So for those, they will natively work with this display stand. So I can put that on like so. Nice intimidating look there for the old Yamato SV51. Now, what we can do is bank the toy. We have to be a little creative in how we do that. So I'm going to remove the peg that locks everything into position, and then I'm going to remove the other connection on the other side here. And now
it'd be very easy to show the toy ascending or descending like so. The other thing I can do is angle the toy by pulling it off, easier said than done, and twisting it around. So between the ability to twist and the ability to angle, so let's try to get that back on there. It's a very tight fit. All right, so between my ability to twist and angle, I can now take the display stand and spin it around, and that's how you would go about getting a banking pose now. Being a little rough on this toy, but you get the idea. So even though you only have a pivot up and down, the fact that you can twist the toy on the display stand and you can rotate the display stand will give you a little bit more flexibility than you may at first think. And then I obviously have the ability to also lift the toy up a little bit higher or bring it down much further. Those are your options. You get a little more mileage than at first you'll suspect. One of the cool aspects of this display stand are these storage bays, and you can see you can fit a lot of good stuff in there. If you got like a basic VF1, you can pretty much fit all of your accessories in. But as the toys get bigger and the accessories get more plentiful, you do start running out of room. You certainly aren't gonna put in your boosters from an Arcadia SV51 in here, or even a Yamato for that matter. They're just not gonna fit. And you have so many other weapons that come with the SV51. They're not all gonna fit. If you have a VF1, obviously the fast packs aren't gonna fit. So it's nice. You can definitely have the accessories you go to the most at hand, but you're probably not gonna completely eliminate any storage baggies you have. Now these display doors do have nubs on either end, but the nubs are perfectly round and incredibly difficult to use to pry off the display stand door. So what you want to do, just push down and kind of apply pressure upward, and then hopefully you can get a fingernail in somewhere, or just use a piece of clear tape, because they didn't give us much of an option here. And the way to open these is just beyond frustrating. So yeah, I would probably just get a piece of clear tape at this point, stick it on there, and then pry it open, because there's no nail hold on these nubs whatsoever. Now you might be thinking, hey, isn't this the same display stand that Yamato already produced with their SV51 and YF21 toys? And the answer to that is it's very similar, but it is definitely not the same. This is the Yamato display stand. It was black for the SV51, really opaque clear for the YF21. The mechanisms are very similar. You still have a pop-off peg that secures the rounded peg top. The molds to those few parts is pretty similar, but the arm itself is much longer on this display stand, which really benefits the SV51 itself because it's such a long vehicle. So by being longer, you can tilt this in more directions and not have the SV51 hit the ground. YF21, also a very large bird, benefits from the longer arm. And then you have this arm here, a little bit thicker, a little more prominent, and no storage area in the base. The bases themselves, very different shape. So those, not very much inspired, probably an evolution of, but definitely not a reissue of an existing display stand. While there are definitely some very poor adapters, there are some great ones, like the VF0 Gearwalk adapter, which goes in the cavity between the legs and behind the head. Great spot, very secure, and most toys really benefit from a display stand in Gearwalk and Batroid mode, where you can get those feet, you're not relying on them to support the weight of the toy, you can get super dynamic poses, and just have a lot more fun with them. On the topic of being at the mercy of the included connection pieces, the VF1 is the worst offender in my book. So the adapter or connector, depending on how you want to phrase it, goes between the legs here and connects on that hip bar. And then it protrudes out to connect to the display stand. Now this is the Arcadia to Yamato adapter piece. And when it's on, you can only close the wings to the width of that adapter piece. And even if you didn't have to use this piece, you would still only be able to close them to the width of this little gray prong here. So that is a total bummer. You can't close the wings entirely in Batroid, which is part of the look. So instead you'll have to opt for wing out displays, and there are plenty of cool ones, so it's not like you can say like this display stand just doesn't work in Batroid mode. It does. You're just going to have wings out displays, which, while cool, isn't going to be how you want to display all of your Batroid mode VF1 toys. And I don't know many people that really are going to like the look of this. Once you notice it, it's pretty hard not to notice it. So major bummer in my book. Here we have the Arcadia 160 scale SV51. It comes with nice clear adapters. Adapter, again, doing a great job holding that toy. Now in Batroid mode with these longer particular Batroid toys, the legs might conflict occasionally with your setup on the display stand. So you might have to reposition your toy a little bit, not get that exact pose you're looking for, or it might just take a little more effort to get you there. Overall, it is a nice, cheap display stand that holds the toy securely and really excels at something like if you're gonna have fighter mode, like several fighters in that position, all lined up on a shelf. It'd make a really impressive looking display. If you could get these in any sort of quantity cheaply, so if Arcadia ever does another print, that would be a good way to go. You do get that storage in the bottom, which might not be the easiest to open, but it's still pretty helpful to have if you don't want to be going back to your box all the time. But it might not let you just toss the box entirely depending on which toy you're using it with. There's a lot of compatibility out there. I haven't been able to show you every single toy. If you've got a specific one you want to see on the stand, shoot me a comment, let me know. Check the full article on anymoon.com, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.